Is Oscopo Kwajiman, student of Geography and Regional Planning, the University of Cape Coast. I bring to you research design, and in that we are going to look at descriptive research design. And with descriptive research design is part of the non-experimental research design that we have. Looking at the pictures that we have so far, you can see tortoise, you can see some birds, you can see dogs, you can see a cat, you can see rabbit and other things, and below it you can also find a flooding area. You see that there has been a flooding and there are some buildings there and there are some trees there. So this is what we call descriptive. So when we are talking about descriptive, we just want to describe, give a snapshot of whatever that is happening, or an event or a phenomena. So with research descriptive design, we say that it's a systematic, is to describe a systematic situation, a problem, phenomena, service or program, or to provide information concerning a living condition of a group of people or an attitude of an individual, to portray the characteristics of a person, situation, or a group, as I've already said. According to McNabb 2008, a descriptive design is said to use to obtain information concerning the current situation or status of the phenomena by describing the variables at hand. For example, it may attempt to describe the types of service provided by an organization, the administrative structure of an organization, causes of flooding, the needs of a community, what it means to go through a divorce, how a child feels living in a house with domestic violence, or the attitude of employees towards management. It involves gathering data that describe events and then organizes, tabulates, depicts, and describe data. It uses a descriptive as a tool to organize data into patterns during data analysis. The main purpose of such studies is to describe what is prevalent with respect to the issue or problem under study. It is when researchers observe and then describe what they have observed or seen. It answers questions such as where, what, when, and how. However, it cannot answer questions such as why. Its approach involves the collection of large amounts of data for detailed analysis, which leads to the important recommendation in practice. It uses survey methods such as questionnaires and interviews, as well as observational methods that employ participant and non-participant observation. With this, people have described the descriptive design as both qualitative and non-qualitative, that is the quantitative and qualitative. Looking at the advantages of descriptive design, you can say that the subject or participant are observed in their natural setting or unchanged environment. For example, an anthropologist will learn about culture of a group of people in a certain community in that same community, or to know the behavior or to learn the behavior of a certain community. 2. Descriptive research may be precursor to future research because it can be helpful in identification or identifying variables that can be tested. This means that if you want to conduct a study to maybe test relationship between one variable and the other, you may like to first do a descriptive study to describe the situation, to know the variables involved. Then after it, you can test it. The finding may point the researcher to specific variables that may be impacting health and warrant further study. The data collection allows for gathering in-depth information that may be either quantitative or qualitative in nature. This allows for multifaceted approach to data collection and analysis. This means that with descriptive design, you may either use qualitative data collection tool or quantitative data collection tool, and you may arrive at the same or similar answers. Descriptive studies result in rich data that is collected in large amounts. Surveys can be used by companies and organizations to study in beliefs, attitude, behavioral, and habits of members of a target audience, company, or organizations. It is more structured as compared to the exploratory research. However, there are some shortcomings of this design. For instance, a descriptive research cannot be used to prove or disprove a hypothesis, and the function of descriptive research is heavily dependent on the instrumentation for measurement and observation. That means it solely depends on the data collection instrument, that's the questionnaire, interview, or observation that is being used on the field in gathering the data. It is expensive since it normally covers a large sample size and also geographical area when conducting such study. It is time consuming in a sense that you need to cover a large geographical area and also a sample size in administering your research data collection instrument. It can't answer questions such as why, that is, it can't give you a detailed report or detailed information about a phenomena or an event as compared to exploratory or explanation research design. Participant or subject may not be truthful or may not behave naturally when they know that they are being observed. For instance, if you are doing participant observation and your participant gets to know that, oh, I'm being observed for this project or that, then the person will fake, the person will behave other way wise, and you wouldn't get the true reflection that you want to study. Descriptive studies cannot be used to correlate variables or determine cause and effect. It can just give a snapshot of that variable, but it cannot establish the relationship between variables. Confidentiality can be an issue. For instance, when you are doing you are using observational methods such as participant or non-participant observation. And also when you are using interview, after the interview, how are you going to ensure the confidentiality of that interviewee? For instance, if you are conducting a study and you are using a manager of a company and you mention that you'll be using the manager of the company, how do we ensure that the information that the person is giving is not, tied to such information? The disadvantages continue. There might also be a researcher bias, in a sense that the researcher may pause when doing interview with someone, may pause the recorder or may record what he or she deemed fit or is interested in, and the person might also report on issues and findings that the researcher is interested rather than reporting objectively. For instance, the choice and the wording of questions from the questionnaire may be influenced by the bias of the researcher. Also, the researcher may also make subjective choice about which information to record and emphasis in the findings, as I've already explained. No variables are manipulated. Therefore, statistical analysis is not possible. Because of this, some scientists regard descriptive studies as unreliable and unscientific. This in the essence that because there is no variables to manipulate as it happens in the experimental research designs, you may only use descriptive statistics such as the means, the standard deviation, the frequencies, and the percentage to analyze such situation. The results are not repeatable, and typically the study cannot be replicated since there is no structure that you need to follow as compared to the experimental design, whereby we have some group that we call the control group and the manipulated group that you can manipulate to find the effect of that independent variable on the dependent variables. Here there is not such case, so the study is subjected to other issues that will make the study not be able to be replicated as it can be done in the experimental design. Findings may be open to interpretation since there is no structured or rigorous systematic way of reporting the findings, and the findings reporting is also biased based on the researcher. These findings may be open to interpretation. Other people might come out with their own interpretation concerning the data gathered. This brings us to the end of this lesson on research design. That's the descriptive research design. Keep watching, subscribe our channel to get more updates on research design. Thank you.